There's a trend I've been following for I'd say probably a year or so now, and that is the trend of Xbox games and how they've actually worked in an ecosystem that doesn't have as many consoles sold as its counterparts. Now, this question, it behooves a lot of people because for most folk, the console business has been relegated to just the machine that the company sells. So if you're PlayStation, your business and a lot of what it is that you do is relegated to the PlayStation console. If you're Nintendo, the same. And if you're Xbox, well, I'm guessing they believe that it should be the same. However, it's not. And Xbox took a different approach around 2016 where they started making their games available on PC the very same day. A lot of people have not paid very close attention that these games have actually been quite successful on the PC platform. It's almost always too late before they go ahead and start to talk about it. For instance, in the case of Forza Horizon 5, that has taken the airwaves. And now a lot of people are probably wondering, how did that game ever get to the point that it got to from a financial perspective in terms of its sales, in terms of its revenue and potential profits? And now it's just making pretty much what we would almost consider pure profit on the PlayStation platform as it's been listed there in the last few months. Not only has it made its way to PlayStation and is now one of the top paid for games, it's also ranking and rating very well. Seems like it's something that is enjoyed by PlayStation players. So I'm almost certain that they're going to be looking forward to the Forza Horizon 6 game. But this Forza game and its own shenanigans, let's go ahead and take a very interesting look at how this game has been selling even before it made its way to the PlayStation platform. When we look at this, we're also going to go ahead and look at Xbox and PlayStation's revenue from previous years and see where there might have been pivotal shifts and what that has done for the Xbox business, especially seeing as their console sales have actually been quite poor since the Xbox One generation. That's pretty much where they launched on the bad foot, but somehow they were able to pretty much go ahead and pivot. And did the pivot actually work? And is their new strategy as basically a continuation of that pivot going to work for them? We're going to go ahead and take a look and see. So on this particular list that you're seeing here, this is an official publication, or I guess I'd say a webpage by Valve, Steam. What they do here is every year they publish the top gross games by category. So what they'll do is they'll take the top grossing games, they'll measure their revenue, and they'll pretty much go ahead and throw them in a bin. The bin or the category is not by any sequential order in terms of who earns the most. It's actually done in a way that pretty much goes ahead to mix it up so that you don't know who's who. But what's interesting is in the top category, platinum category, you see some of the top sellers like Black Myth Wukong, Power World, Baldur's Gate 3, Elden Ring, Space Marine, and Helldivers 2. Shockingly, a PlayStation game, and Destiny 2. Wow, two PlayStation games in this category, earning big chunks of money. You also see Xbox game, Microsoft game in this category as well, Call of Duty. Now, you can say that they, acquired or they purchased or whatever, but how about those old Xbox games? And that's what we're actually here for. So a game like Forza Horizon 5, how has that game been doing on Steam? Well, look at Forza Horizon 5 in last year's chart. The game makes its way into the silver category, of which there are 4 categories: platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. So in this silver category, what games would you expect to find here in terms of their sales and revenue? Stalker 2, a game which sold millions of copies in all of its totality, even while being on Xbox. You also see Forza 4 as well, which is interesting. A game like Red Dead Redemption 2, one that has been selling for a long time, Fallout 76, Elder Scrolls Online, which it's interesting because the revenue for a game like this would probably include all kinds of other things. Manor Lords, interesting. Grand Theft Auto 5, Tekken 8, and Hogwarts Legacy. In its, obviously second year. So which means that Forza Horizon 5 is one of the top sellers about 4 years after its release on Steam. This has nothing to do with PlayStation. This has nothing to do with Xbox as the console side. Now, we can't even see the numbers for Xbox PC. That's a likelihood as well that that's also been selling there as people are exposed to that game via Game Pass and they're able to pretty much make a decision if they want to buy the game. So we'll go back again. This is 2024. How about 2023? How did Forza Horizon do in that year in terms of its sales? We can go to the exact same list as they've been publishing this list for, a good amount of time now, and we can check to see the status of Forza. when we look, we'll see that Forza is also in the silver category. This is also a few years after it had launched, and it's still one of the top grossing games on Steam multiple years if you start backtracking. Interesting. Now, keep in mind that there are other Xbox games that are still available on this list. Age of Empires 4, are you seeing it? Did you see the other game, the pirate game, Sea of Thieves as well? Yes, even if you were paying attention, you might have seen it or might not have seen it. A game like Wolong, Fallen Dynasty. Yes, it was on Game Pass, but seems to have also charted. And Lies of P. Grounded. Do you remember that game? Also charted as well. So it appears to me that Xbox Game Studios are seeing good success depending on the game and depending on the studio. It's a case-by-case basis. It's not every studio, but you're seeing these games kind of show up and highlight themselves in very interesting ways in these charts. What's crazy is we can go back to 2022. This would give us a very good idea, just a year after Forza Horizon 5 had come out, what that looked like. The game is in the gold category. Pretty much the second category, sitting right underneath Elden Ring and games like Call of Duty and Dota 2, sitting in the same category as God of War 2018. Look at that, a PlayStation game, as well as Cyberpunk 2077 in that year, Red Dead Redemption, Ready or Not, GTA 5, and FIFA. Very interesting categorization and how these games made a lot of money. I hope you all remember that PlayStation also reported that God of War, the 2018 version, was a very huge hit on PC. Keep in mind that it hadn't had as much time to sell on PC like other Xbox games, as Xbox games go straight to PC and Steam day one. Let's go back. Oh, well, look at that. It's Sea of Thieves. Let's go back again. Oh, look, it's Grounded. They're all here. Wow. I mean, it's Forza 4. Oh, my gosh. Are you seeing the trend, or do we need to keep going? Now, let's look at the year that Forza Horizon 5 came out, 2021. Was it one of the top-selling games that year? Oh, well, look who it is. It is Forza Horizon 5. Keep in mind that you've also been seeing Sea of Thieves, and I'm not even talking about Rare's own live service game. So when you look at Xbox's strategy, and you look at their revenue, and ask yourself, how in the world did Xbox's revenue take a very interesting transformation from when their console sales were taking a huge hit, having launched the Xbox One on the wrong foot, and looking at now, yes, they acquired Activision Blizzard King to be able to reach this particular number, which has shifted them way much closer than they were or could have been to PlayStation had they not made the pivot. But if we take these years into account, 2020, 2021, 2022, we start to see a rising trend in their revenue. It's very interesting that somewhere, somehow, not saying that correlation and causation is anything crazy, but money is being made, line seems to be going up. All the people that have been saying Xbox is dead, Xbox is dead, Xbox is dead, Xbox is dead, had to modify their Xbox is dead claims to Xbox hardware is dead. In fact, some modifications became Xbox brand is dead. But somewhere, somehow, with the Xbox name, brand, and whatever it is, they seem to keep making more money. We're not even counting Activision Blizzard King in any of these. And I haven't even pointed out to any of Bethesda games as seen on Steam. Now, what's weird and what's wild in all of this is that when you even go and account for all sorts of other factors and think about the fact that their console sales were dwindling, I think it makes a lot of sense that a lot of people are in a position where they just want to play where they want to play. And a lot of the concern, trolling, that's what I'm calling it, about the Xbox console, haven't had a negative effect on a lot of people who watch the news or who listen to, the pundits talk, has been largely irrelevant, as people are still playing on that platform and playing on the console, especially the ones that enjoyed the platform for what it offered. And somewhere, somehow, Xbox had kept itself, in a sense, sustainable when things actually come down to it, and are poised to remain in this gaming business. In fact, look at their trend, and in my opinion, how healthy it looks compared to their abject competitor, who is constantly on their neck and had made things very difficult for them to be Xbox. And I think you can see that they are running a business here in the Xbox, ecosystem that tells a story In fact, the story kind of writes itself. Are you looking at it? You looking at the line? Look at the lines and compare for yourself and let it pretty much inform you on whatever it is you want your conclusions to pretty much, be informed by. I guess I will put it that way. So when you see this side by side, I can't imagine how anybody will still think that this company called Xbox is dead in any way. I mean, if you think about hardware, when it comes down to it, they're lost leaders. No one is over there beating their chest among PlayStation and Xbox as to who's selling the most hardware. Do you know that? As PlayStation has abandoned hardware sales as its primary metric and is now going for monthly active users, because apparently monthly active users can make you tons and tons more money. In fact, the $70 billion for Activision Blizzard King was spent on acquisition of monthly active users than anything else. And so once PlayStation saw that and said, look at our competitor is within a few years of reach to the numbers that we have today, trailing us by such a lower gap than they were in the past, how are they pulling it off? They're pulling it off by pretty much removing all of the walls that these game companies have, in a sense, prided themselves of building. Oh, you can only play this game in our walled garden. Well, now Xbox is going for a guaranteed financial success for every iteration, for every single game that it puts out there, as much as it possibly can. That's why Ninja Gaiden 4 is going to come out on every single platform on the very same day. The game is going to be set up for success. There's no reason for them to sit back now and start playing with timed exclusivity. Those of you on Xbox are not going to abandon Xbox because you have what I think are some of the best value propositional pieces on the platform. Those of you on PlayStation, maybe you might think of Game Pass, but you're also not likely to abandon your library of games to go start afresh on another platform. Unless, of course, that's within your prerogative, but Xbox is the one that has the games anyways at this moment in time and has the cadence. So do you really want to play games? And if you do, maybe you make your way to the Xbox ecosystem, but Xbox is not really interested as much in that. They're just interested in you just enjoying yourself and giving them money as quickly as you possibly can. If you want to give them more money, I don't think they'll say no. You can go buy their expensive late generation console, outdated as it is, right? Which is really weird. Or you could just buy their games wherever you are, just as PlayStation gamers across the world are doing. And the more you continue to do this, the more their story continues to be told. And from what I'm seeing, I don't think any of us are going to be surprised if this line continues to go up with their business strategy, which kind of puts a shame to the whole exclusivity thing, as even PlayStation themselves, I don't know if you know, also abandoned the strategy and did exactly what Xbox was doing, but they, in a sense, modified the cadence. They were always poised to make a lot of money as well once they started doing it. This is why when I was running through the Steam best list for you guys, I was highlighting the PlayStation games as well there as we saw them. So PlayStation, realizing that Xbox is making serious dough, go look at the charts again. Look very carefully at when PlayStation started putting its games on PC, 2020. Look at where they were in 2020, 22 million in terms of their revenue. We don't know what their profits is. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it would tell me at the time. But look at the cadence since they've also basically started a multi-platform strategy. I mean, yes, there is growth within their ecosystem. There are price increases. There are more third-party games and such. But you're also seeing the trend as well follow suit. Not saying that this phenomenon has been solely responsible for bringing lots and lots of money to them, but it has been responsible for printing money, Shuhei Yoshida's words, for them. So, apparently, printing money can be done by a multi-platform strategy. And if anybody has been thinking that PlayStation is not interested in quote, printing money, then I'm, kind of shocked that they were naive enough to think that the business was going to follow that route. The moment PlayStation decides that it needs to print more money, it'll take more games to Xbox. Obviously, it's already going to take one more to Xbox this month. I mean, did y'all really think that their games are going to pretty much stay relegated and locked to their platform while they'd already seen success from Steam? Once you taste millions and millions more dollars and your shareholders see how it's possible, it's over. And then what makes things even worse is when the competitor is doing it and seeing success and trailing you, and in many cases, showing that their business can be sustained without that old school model, then it's over. It's only a matter of time before Nintendo jumps in the fold. They may not bring their games to PC, but I think mobile is an option for them, as they've already tested that ground with about 4 or 5 games. I don't know if you guys know that. Nintendo has about 4 games on mobile. Did you know that? If you didn't know, you need to go look on their website and see that. Now, those games are pretty much their own thing, but it's interesting, isn't it? That even the so-called exclusive, only exclusive console has about 5 games on 2 different platforms, not just one. Comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate your time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.